What is going on, everyone? My name is No Pun Intended, and welcome to coverage of my Week 1 battle for Season 1 of the PCL. Guys, it has been a long road back to Draft League. Heck, it's been such a long road, but this video is actually 2 days late. But we are finally playing in the game again, and how sweet it is. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like or a comment on it, because that would be nice. Now, before we get started, there's something that I'd like to specifically mention. I'm probably the least experienced coach in this entire league. I don't play in very many draft leagues at a time, and I haven't played in a 3DS one in over 2 years, since ORS. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of respect around here. And you know what? That's absolutely fine by me. I'm not the only coach in any league that's been underestimated like this. In fact, the team that I'm based on, the Philadelphia Eagles of the NFL, were huge underdogs in each of their playoff games. They couldn't possibly win a single playoff game. They lost their starting quarterback and 3 other key players for the entire season. They finished the regular season shakily, barely being able to win 2 out of their final 3 games, entering the playoffs, and looking way more vulnerable than any of the teams they had to play against. And you want to know what happened to them? They won their first title in 57 seasons. No one believed they could pull it off, and I don't think anyone here, even my longtime subscribers, thinks I can pull it off. Well, you're probably right about that, but it's still fun to think about, and I'm proud of the fact that we are the biggest underdogs in the PCL. No pressure, just here to have some fun in Draft League, and I hope you'll come along for the ride, which starts right now, obviously. In Week 1, we play Gray, coach of Yeoveltal Town FC, a name that I have totally screwed up, but we're just going to go with it. This was the last of the 6 games played for the first week, by 4 days. Yeah, it's one of those games, but thankfully, for the most part, we do have the team matchup advantage. Gray has like 3 or 4 mods that just can't come at all due to my offensive pressure. Specifically, a lot of his mods are fighting weak, and if he brings them, then he is literally asking to surrender. Magneton, Incineroar, and Miltank just have awful matchups against my dual fighting types, my Infernape and my Mega Medicham, so I can pretty easily narrow down what mods he could potentially bring. Now, with that information in my mind, I'm going to get to the team builder now, and I'm going to attempt to tell you everything that I was thinking for my team in under 3 minutes. Just going to move us over to Showdown, and let's start the clock. So immediately, the mod I wanted to build around in Week 1 was Landorus Therian. When it's your first pick, and it's the mod you've been looking forward to use for 2 years, it almost just comes to you. And I find that the combination of ground and flying stab just decimates Gray's team. So I started off with Earthquake and Fly, slapped on the Flying Z move so I wouldn't have to worry about stalling out a turn, and then decided that just going Dual Dance with Rock Polish and Sword Dance would suit me very well, especially considering that I don't have to run Jolly Nature in order to speed creep Gray's mons, just because he has that awkward speed tier gap in between 75 and 100, so that is how I orientated my Landorus. Now, to assist Landorus's sweep, I did bring a few offensive mons and a few defensive mons to help things out. Nihilego is a very important piece, just because by running the Choice Scarf, I can outspeed both a Nagana and a Scarf's Raptor, both of which are kind of huge threats to my team, if you didn't get any sort of idea. The coverage is designed to hit Starmie and Staraptor with Thunderbolt, Clefable with Sludge Wave, Magneton with Hidden Power Ground, and then Hariyama and Nagana with Psyshock. Nihilego is my one best means of speed control this week. Next up is Mega Medicham, who also has a bit of speed control going on with Fake Out, which just gives a decent chunk of damage off on any of his Frailer mons if they decide to stay in on a mon with 100 base speed, and that's kind of important because, once again, running Adamant over Jolly because of that speed gap. High Jump Kick is just a very, very strong attack. The only thing it doesn't really hit is Decidueye on his squad, otherwise I think I'm covered for him. Poison Jab is the main attack to hit Clefable, and Psycho Cut is a more accurate attack than Zen Headbutt, and I'm kind of concerned about that because High Jump Kick has a chance to miss. I'm honestly more comfortable, though, with my defense than I am my offense, and part of that is because Aegislash is on my team. The set I brought this week is mostly physically defensive because the primary purpose of Aegislash is to be a hard counter to Gray's Staraptor. I've got Sacred Sword to hit Incineroar, Magneton, and Miltank super effectively, although I don't know if any of them come, it's best just to have it. And the Pursuit is designed to trap Starmie and Decidueye, weaken them a bit, so that Landorus is in a better position to sweep. And Leftovers is very, very helpful considering Aegislash is going to be on the field for a while, at least I'm guessing that. Another mon that will come in quite frequently is my physically defensive Infernape. It's designed to hard counter any possible Mega Scizor set Gray could bring. I've been inspired a bit by a set that Leo, aka 6-foot Hacks, used against my good pal Gregulator in GBA D-League that really threw Greg off his game by just restoring health using Slack Off and getting Rocky Helmet chip damage on his Mega Scizor. Speaking of Rocky Helmet, I'm holding it so that when Mega Scizor inevitably knocks Infernape's item off, it takes the 17% chip damage that may assist Lando in pulling off its sweep. And the last one to talk about is my Assault Vested Seismitoad. In a team of all tier 1s and tier 2s otherwise. Seismitoad is sort of a Gloomon, just because its properties allow it to take hits from Starmie, and more specifically Nagana while it's holding the Assault Vest. The move spread is actually very nice. Dual Stab is really cool against this team. Knockoff is to hit Starmie and Decidueye a bit harder, especially considering that Decidueye is going to be a common switch into Toad just because it's Grass type. And then I really wasn't sure what to put on for the 4th move, so I decided on Sludge Wave just to force Clefable to click Soft Boiled a little more frequently. And that is my Week 1 Team Builder for the PCL. Now this Team Builder was pretty much based on my guess as to which 6 mons he would bring. The only thing I ended up getting wrong in my prediction was that I thought he'd bring Piloswine over Decidueye because Ice Ground coverage does pretty well against me, but I guess choosing a tier 3 over a tier 5 makes sense too. Now looking at those 6 mons, I realized that he's going pretty hard with trying to counter my fighting types, which I'm okay with because I have other offensive threats as well. But my lead for this game is going to be my Nihilego, and the reason I chose Nihilego is because the only obvious bad matchup it has at the beginning of the game is against Mega Scizor, and if he leads with Mega Scizor, then I can just go into my Infernape easily. But the battle's going to start right now. I'm going to lead with Nihilego, as I mentioned before, and Gray is going to lead with the Clefable, which is a very good matchup for me, if only because the only way he can win this matchup is if I overpredict and he stays in and clicks Psyshock with Clefable, which will do a ton of damage to Nihilego, but I'm not entirely sure he even has Psyshock. He has a very severe form moveslot in terms of Clefable anyway, so what I'm actually going to do is predict him to switch into his Starmie and just click Thunderbolt. It's a pretty good neutral play as well, assuming that he decides to go into a mon like Mega Scizor as a check to Nihilego. But instead, he actually goes into his Decidueye. The Thunderbolt pretty much bounces off and does no damage, but I get really, really lucky and snag a 10% paralysis. Now this pair really sucks. If it's an offensive Decidueye, that means it's slower than mons like my Aegislash, and if it's a defensive Decidueye, it's going to be less likely to get off important attacks like Roost. 10% paralysis is just bad, no matter what way you look at it. But I don't know what kind of set the Decidueye even is. If it has physical attacks, then I don't want my Nihilego to take a ton of damage, so what I'm actually going to do is pivot out into my Infernape on the worst case scenario option that he is a physical attacker, and I know that my Infernape can take a hit from it anyway. However, he reveals Substitute here, and now that he's shown it, I'm thinking in my head that he's some kind of boosting Baton Pass set, so in my mind, I need to break this sub immediately, so I'm just going to click Fire Punch. I'm able to break the sub, and next turn I know that I can damage him directly if I want to. Gray's going to go for Shadow Ball, deal a decent chunk to my Infernape. And on the next turn, I'm going to decide that I don't want to repeatedly switching in and out, so I'll set up my Stealth Rocks here. The Decidueye seems to be a more specially defensive set, so I'm hoping that this is his Hazard Remover, and if that's the case, then Infernape as my Stealth Rocker has a big matchup advantage over it. Anyway, Gray's going to pivot into the Staraptor. He gets off the Intimidate on me as the rocks go up on his side of the field. And this is where I remember that, wait, Staraptor can be defensive, and it can run Defog. And even though I have a hard counter for it in Aegislash, that doesn't stop it from being able to remove Stealth Rocks. Lame. So Gray got me good there with defensive Defog Staraptor, which is a really good idea for a set because Staraptor really has no way to touch Aegislash whatsoever. So the best move it has to hit it is Brave Bird, which is already a very effective move against my team as it is. So it's really all he needs to put on Raptor to heavily threaten my team. And Gray's about to get me good again by pivoting into the Decidueye, anticipating me not going for a Ghost-type attack, as he's right, I predicted Mega Scizor to come in, so I went for a Sacred Sword, even though I didn't really need to. Bad play on my part, I should have gone for a more neutral attack like Iron Head, but it's whatever. But I can't afford to let his Decidueye either set up or hit my Aegislash with a Ghost-type move while it's still in its Blade form. So I'm going to make a hard switch into Nihilego. This is anticipating that he doesn't have a physical move to go along with his Shadow Ball. And he just clicks sub again though, so that means that once again I'm just going to go for an attacking move, in this case Sludge Wave, just to break the sub and see what he wants to do. Or at least I wanted to see what he was going to do, but this turn he gets fully paralyzed, so gonna have to wait a little bit. For now though, I am just going to click Sludge Wave again. I don't think he's going to go hard into Mega Scizor because he doesn't know whether or not I'm Scarfed yet. I mean, he very well could, but again I still have Infernape as a safe switch into Scizor, so even if he does, I wouldn't be put under that much pressure if he made that prediction. So I just click Sludge Wave. He takes a decent chunk of damage for the Decidueye, especially considering that it's actually a more specially defensive set with like max investment and a calm nature. And I'm also pretty happy to know that this Decidueye doesn't click a physical attack. He instead just goes for the Baton Pass and gets a free switch into his Mega Scizor, who, once again, I'm Scarf Locked into Sludge Wave, so I can't touch him. Because of that, there's really no point in me staying him in Nihilego. Especially considering that I designated my Infernape as my hard Mega Scizor counter. So, even though I figure that he's probably going to go for knockoff, I really don't have a mon I want to go into at this point to take the hit from it. So I just go hard Infernape, and I'm willing to let my Rocky Helmet go, as long as I find some time to get more damage on the Mega Scizor later on. then it won't be that big of a deal for my Infernape to lose its item. Only problem is, now that I'm at a low amount of HP, I feel the need to click Slack off just so Infernape can better check Scizor in future times it tries to come in. The only problem with that is that I'm not getting a hit off on the incoming Staraptor, and even if it did go for Fire Punch against it, it would just intimidate me and lower my attack. So now I've already revealed my obvious switch into Staraptor to be my Aegislash, and because of that, Gray is able to make that read and go into his Clefable. Okay, I get this is a bit of an interesting situation for me. Normally, Aegislash is a very good matchup against Clefable. Like, even if it has something like Fire Blast or whatever, Aegislash is bulky enough where it doesn't take that much damage, so even if he has that move, I'm not particularly worried about the Clefable attacking my Aegislash. And there's not really anything else I really want to switch in. I mean, I guess I can go Nihilego, but if he has Psyshock instead of a Fire move, then that could also be very bad. So what I'm going to do is just try to gauge what kind of set this Clefable is by staying in, tanking the Fire Blast, and in total I only lose about a third of my health. But I also get burned. Which is especially horrible because I designed my Aegislash set this week to only have physical attacks, in spite of the fact that Aegislash's attack and special attack is equal because I'm running a minus speed nature. Not one of my better moments in prep. And the burn's also mitigating the leftovers recovery that I was hoping to gain. So in essence, my Aegislash is basically turned into a Chansey. It can't deal damage, it can't restore its health and survive attacks. The only thing it could potentially do is wall Staraptor, but even then, if the Staraptor is defensive, it probably is Roost, and so Aegislash is not going to be able to deal any lasting damage to it. Basically, the only good thing Aegislash does in this game is it activates Clefable's Berry, and so now I know that it doesn't have an item anymore. Now that it's done that, it's dead weight to me. And it could also potentially be setup fodder if the Clefable has Calm Mind. So what I'm going to do is go hard into Seismitoad to see what attack he goes for, and he ends up setting up his Stealth Rocks. Definitely annoying to deal with because I don't have removal on this team. In order to get rid of them, I'm going to have to convince Gray to defog his own Rocks away, and the only way to do that is to get in my Infernape and set up Rocks as he brings in Staraptor, which is not going to be a very easy plan to set into motion. But one thing that will be very easy for me to do is reveal that my Seismitoad has Sludge Wave to threaten out the Clefable. That way I can deal super effective damage to it, and force it to click its recovery move more often than it would like to. If he doesn't recover, then his Clefable is now in range of my Land or CC move. But instead of staying in with Clef, he's going to go into his Decidueye and sack it off to a combination of 1 Sludge Wave and 1 Knockoff. We're now up 6-5, but there's no reason for me to feel comfortable about this game, especially considering I have a useless burn to Aegislash and Rocks up on my side of the field. So I still have to be cautious. Anyway, next up on the docket is Starmie. It's a mon I haven't seen in the battle yet, and so immediately I think that it's some kind of offensive set with Grass Knot. So in order to scout to see whether the Starmie has a grass move in particular, I'm going to go into my useless Aegislash to take the attack. And I actually handled the Grass Knot rather well, even though the Starmie is Life Orb, and he got a critical hit. I don't necessarily mind the crit because I'm trying to sack off my Aegislash anyway right here, because as you're going to see, I don't have a Ghost move on Aegislash. Instead, I went with Pursuit so that he would be scared, try to switch out with Starmie, and I could get like 70% on it. But because I'm burned and because he's not scared to switch out, this damage is absolutely pathetic. Which means there's absolutely no reason for me to keep Aegislash alive at this point. It would have been nice as a consistent Staraptor check, but with the burn, it's not going to be able to fulfill that role anymore. Now, the only way I have to avoid taking any damage on my side of the field is to go into my Scarf and Nihilego and threaten him out with either Thunderbolt or Sludge Wave. But I figure he already knows that I'm Scarf because I brought Nihilego in on a Starmie. So what I'm actually going to do is pivot into my Seismitoad, anticipating him to either Scald or to switch into something like Nagana. And I do get that right. So now I can just go for any attack I want. I just click Knockoff because it's the most neutral sort of play, as I don't think he's going to be very likely to switch into Mega Sizzle or Fable. Both of them have, well, I can't knock off the right end because one's a Mega and one already has consumed the berry. So I just go for Knockoff and he ends up sacking the Starmie, which I am very happy about. The Starmie outspent everything on my team except for that Scarf Nihilego, and I think my Scarf Nihilego is a bit too easy to exploit considering the mons that he brought. So we do kill the Starmie. And Seismitoad gets its second kill, which I don't think there'll be another game this season where it will get 2 kills, especially with knockoff on a minus attack nature, but you take what you can get at this point. Next on his side of the field is the Clefable again. Honestly, I probably should have just clicked Sludge Wave and tried to force this thing down to like the 30% health range, which is what I wanted Toad to do in the first place. But you can see that Nihilego easily tanks the Moonblast. So now what I can do is try to figure out what attack I want to go for here. The tricky part is that I have to decide whether the Scizor or the Nagana is going to come in. So I just go for Sludge Wave, anticipating him to stay in because he doesn't have a reliable switch in. At least I didn't think he has a reliable switch in, but if I were with the benefit of hindsight, I probably should have made another prediction there and just gone for a Side Shock just in case he went to the Nagana as he did here, because then I would have gotten off about 70% damage onto it, and then it would definitely be in range of a Mega Metacham's Fake Out, which would have been very helpful. Getting rid of Nagana makes my game plan a lot easier to execute. But even considering that my Nihilego is locked in the Sludge Wave, what I really should have done is just stayed in. Because if he's Scarfed and he outspeeds me, then I still get off a Sludge Wave because he can't kill me in one hit unless he has HP Ground. And if he's Scarf locked into HP Ground, then that gives me a huge opportunity to go into my Landorus and just start setting up. Instead, I switch into Toad, let it take 60 points of damage for absolutely no reason, and now he can just switch out into a mon like the Mega Scizor. And to compound the mistake, I go for a knockoff instead of a move like Scald, anticipating the switch out, but the only mon that could switch in there that I would want to get rid of its item is Staraptor, who already doesn't like Scald to begin with, so I don't know what I was thinking. I guess my mind was in the gutter at that point. Actually, a lot of my plays over the next few turns don't make much sense in hindsight. What I probably should have done here was just kept in Toad and clicked Scald in order to try to get a burn on the Scizor, because now that Silent Toad is at the range of health that it's at, it can't be a reliable check to Nagana because it can't take 2 Dragon Pulses, and if Nagana gets a Beast Boost, then Silent Toad could potentially die to 1 Dragon Pulse if he gets a large enough roll. But I figure, hey, I have Infernape, and Infernape is my designated counter to this Mega Scizor. The only way this can potentially go wrong is if he clicks U-turn anticipating that, and of course, Gray is going to do that, go into his Staraptor, and immediately threaten me out with a Brave Bird. At this point, Gray has put me in a tough spot. I don't have a switch-in to a Staraptor Brave Bird now that I've sacked off my Aegislash. I want to keep Lando healthy. 2 of my mons are fighting types. The Toad is going to die to an attack. I have to think about this for a bit. I really don't think Infernape is going to be able to do the damage I want to, so what I actually do is just attempt to sack it off here, because the only thing Infernape can do is check Mega Scizor, and that's it. But I make another misread here. I thought that Staraptor would outspeed Infernape, but considering he's a defensive Staraptor, that was kind of a weird thing to assume. So what ends up happening is that I click U-turn, and, well, now I have to have another mon besides Infernape take the Brave Bird. I'm just like, oh no. In the end, I think I did make the right sack in getting rid of Seismitoad, just because it's not in a range of HP where it's going to be a reliable check to really anything on his team. So it definitely is the most expendable mon I have. Although Toad definitely pulled its own weight, it got 2 kills. I can't really ask for much more out of a tier 4, so good job, Toad. Now though, I have to just go back into my Nihilego and click Thunderbolt. I can't afford for this Staraptor to click Brave Bird again and presumably kill another one of my mons. Even though I figure that Mega Scizor is coming in anyway, there's not a lot I can do about it, save for switching into Infernape. But then I do risk him, if he stays and goes for Brave Bird, I just lose another mon for no reason. And besides, I know that if I do go for Thunderbolt and he switches in Scizor, he's put in a range of health where he almost has to roost, lest he put his Scizor in range for my Landorus just to kill him in one hit without even having to get up a Swords Dance. So I know he's probably going for roost, so I'm going to make a hard switch into my Mega Metacham. But even if I take a little bit of damage from the Mega Scizor, in my mind it's okay, just because I can still click High Jump Kick, and I don't think 2 bullet punches from his defensive Scizor can take out Metacham. In essence, Gray's going to have to decide which one of his mons he wants to sack to Mega Metacham. And in this case, he's going to choose to let Staraptor go down. And even with the Intimidate, Metacham's Adamant High Jump Kick still does 75% to this Staraptor. And I think it's become very apparent that even a physically defensive Staraptor is not a switch-in for my Mega Metacham. Now, I don't have to risk missing with HJK, I can just click Psycho Cut, it's more accurate, and I'll still be able to take out the Staraptor from the range of health that it's at. And actually, his Staraptor is running Protect just so I would take recoil damage from High Jump Kick if I clicked it again. But because I managed to get the Staraptor on the switch-in, I don't have to worry about taking that kind of recoil. I can just repeatedly click Psycho Cut. I finished off the Staraptor, and now Gray has lost 3 of his mons. All he has left is the Nagana, the Clefable, and the Mega Scizor. But none of those 3 mons are going to be easy for me to take out. And he does in fact go into what I think is the one mon that Metacham can't kill in one hit, that being the Mega Scizor. And on this turn, I really have to think hard about what my best course of action will be. I've gone to Infernape multiple times against the Mega Scizor, and lately he's just been U-turning out and getting the switch advantage on me. So what I decide to do on this turn is to switch up my plan, go straight for High Jump Kick, deal 70% to the Mega Scizor, putting in range of my Landorus' Earthquake. So that's really nice for me. What isn't so nice is the Nagana. The only mon on my team that might be able to take a Dragon Pulse is my Nihilego, so I'm just going to let it go into it here. Even if it dies, I won't be too shaken up over it. And then presumably it can fire off a Scarf Psyshock and spook this Naganadel out of existence. So I do manage to live the Dragon Pulse at 2 HP. I'm going to click the Psyshock, and this is where I realize that his Naganadel is Scarfed. And I'm like, oh crap. Because if he's Scarfed, that means he's more likely to put more special attack into his Naganadel than speed, and that means he gets the Beast Boost in special attack, which means that mods like my Lando aren't going to be able to take his Dragon Pulses nearly as easily. I guess I should have seen the Scarf coming because he packed U-Turn as one of his moves on Naganadel, and usually most of them run Nasty Plot if they're not running a choice item. But really, I wasn't thinking that far ahead, and now I have to adapt to the information that I've gotten. So, I don't really have a check, though, to a +1 Naganadel, so I'm gonna have to improvise a bit. I go into my Mega Medicham in an attempt to get a Fake Out off on the Naganadel, but instead Grace is gonna pivot into the Mega Scizor. It takes almost no damage from the Scizor, and now I have to make a 50-50 kind of prediction. If he clicks Bullet Punch, he has a chance to actually OHKO my Mega Medicham, but because without fail he's gone for U-Turn almost every single time, and the last time I was in with Mega Medicham on Scizor, I elected to stay in for whatever reason. I think he's just going to click Bullet Punch and try to take out my Medicham as quickly as possible, because it's still a huge threat to his team. If it is Poison Jab, it can OHKO Clefable, so what I'm actually going to do is go hard into my Infernape. Even if he did make a prediction here and went for U-Turn, it's not like Infernape has that much use anyway, because it can't OHKO either of his last two Mons, the Naganadel or the Clefable. So I do end up getting the prediction right. He just goes for Bullet Punch, it glances off Infernape, doing almost no damage whatsoever. And now I'm free to just click Fire Punch here. He likes not to switch in Naganadel or Clefable because I don't think he wants him to take damage. And he also doesn't want Scizor to be setup fodder for my Lando because, well, I haven't brought it out yet, so I guess it's rather obvious that I'm a setup variant. So I now lead 3-2. However, that score is going to be short-lived because, once again, Gray has a Naganadel, and I don't have to switch in for it at this point in time now that I've lost Aegislash and Toad and Nihilego. So I just have to have Infernape take the Dragon Pulse. It's really fine because Infernape has the least use on the team since it can't OHKO the Naganadel or the Clefable. So I just sack it off. I let his Naganadel get the special attack Beast Boost once again. And with the score 2-2, I now have a huge decision to make. Whether to bring in my Landorus or my Mega Medicham. The sticking point is that I don't know whether my Landorus can survive a +1 Dragon Pulse from a modest Naganadel. If it does, I can simply set up a Rock Polish, go for Earthquake to take out the Naganadel, or 2-hit KO the Clefable, and I should be able to win the game. But if I don't survive the Dragon Pulse with Lando, then I just get swept by it. On the other hand, there's also Mega Medicham. And what I thought in my head was that if I go for Fake Out twice, that is, go for Fake Out, sack Lando, come back to my Medicham, and go for Fake Out, I should be able to finish off Naganadel, and then I have a chance to kill Clefable with my Poison Jab. So, knowing how everyone in Draft League talks about, you need to make the safe play, you need to make the play that wins you the game 100%, and not wanting to chance the roll against the Landorus, I'm going to go into Medicham. I am just going to click Fake Out, and I realize that it's an easy 2-hit KO. So I should just win here, right? Well, once I switch from Medicham into Landorus, I realized that there's a way that Gray can get out of the situation. Oh, I think I fucked up. I think I choked. I choked because if he switches into Clef on the next Fake Out. Oh my god. If I lived this, I choked. This guy lives on 5. No way. I cannot believe I lost that game because of that. I cannot believe I lost that game because I didn't go in the library. Oh my god. I lost. I cannot believe I lost that game. I choked so hard. I choked so hard, now he just goes into Clef and wins. Oh, he didn't go Clef! Wait! He didn't go into Clefable. Why not? So now I have a chance. Now I have a chance. Hold on. Oh wait, I think he's at too much HP. Alright, just click Poison Jab and pray, I guess. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. We took him out! We took him out! Yes! Yes! 1-0! Holy crap! Oh my god, we won. I should have won that, but holy crap. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. God. Oh my god, if he had swapped out to Clefable there on my fake out, I would have lost. Oh my god. Yes, save replay. Holy. I almost choked that. For those of you who are wondering, I should have lost that game. I should have lost that game. I should have gone to Lando instead of Medicham on the Nagana Dell. Because if he had swapped into Clefable, I couldn't have faked him out again. I would have lost. Honestly, after watching that game, in spite of winning, I'm far from complacent. I don't mean any offense to Gray when I say this, but he shouldn't have been in a position to choke his game anyway. Had I just brought in Landorus after Nagana Dell killed Infernate, it more than likely cleaned up the game. Instead, I overthought, I let the timer run down almost to 0, felt rushed, and, as a result, made my worst possible play. So there's definitely a lot I need to take from this. I think you can tell that I'm not used to playing in battle on 3DS, and for this game anyway, it showed in how jittery I was throughout. But I got lucky, and hopefully we can take advantage of our Week 1 victory. So with that, GG to Gray, who, by the way, had to play through the entire story mode on his cartridge in the week leading up to our battle so he could get the Mega Ring, and in spite of that, he built a fantastic team against me. Props to you, man. You played well enough where you deserve to win. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. Please make sure to leave a like or a comment if you enjoyed the video. Check out the channel links for Gray and all the other PCL coaches in the description of this video. Subscribe to my channel to catch more of my battles this season, and until I see you next time, take care.